Hello, this is MM54321. So, months ago, as of this video, I snapped and I said some very hateful things about this great online show called The Amazing Digital Circus. And I did so for some very personal, very petty, very selfish reasons. And after I received a lot of backlash for it, I publicly apologized and I made everything right with the TADC fanbase. But now that the show has ended and I've watched all 9 episodes, I wanted to make this video about what TADC has put me through over the years and about how I almost abstracted, so to speak. I was in a very dark place for most of this show's 3-year run, mentally speaking. I had all these dark, negative thoughts running through my head, thoughts that I would find the pettiest excuses to act upon, like seeing anything related to TADC outside of an official fan convention where I knew to expect it. I was feeling very self-destructive, like any actions I thought about taking would have gotten me arrested or worse, and for what? Thankfully, I never actually took such actions. Throughout my life, I've always had serious mental problems that started before TADC even started. And TADC only made these problems worse and pushed them to a breaking point. But it also forced me to deal with these problems the way the characters in the show deal with their problems. Yes, it's ironic. I get overcome with a sense of anxiety and self-doubt every time I see an example of something doing better than in my situation in terms of popularity. I'm talking about a lot of other different forms of media, not just the digital circus. As a matter of fact, here are a few examples of some of the things that exist that at one point in my life or another have bothered me or at least gotten to me mentally. Some of these in very different ways from others. Yes, I get especially anxious and loud to the point of yelling and screaming when someone brings up the Helliverse to me. Am I not the only one who was blindsided by a new generation of animators that rose up against these 3 big animation companies and gave us quality stuff while those 3 started giving us mostly garbage? It's just a mental condition that I have. It can get exacerbated by lack of human contact outside of the internet, which is why I should get out more. Little do I realize that a lot of people put a lot of effort into this stuff, and what am I doing in the meantime? Just living my life, you know? Why do I punish myself for that? Yeah, I want to be as successful as I can be. The problem is sometimes seeing what I see, it makes me doubt myself. It makes me feel like I can't do it. And you know, it can shut me down and then I actually can't do it. Like, I realize the whole reason popular stuff bothers me is because I keep thinking about myself and my own content and wanting to feel like people care about my content when other popular stuff makes me feel like they don't. Some days it gets so bad that I have these panic attacks in front of my folks. I'm doing my very best, but every now and again, it just gets away from me. In episode 3, a character named Kinger said to Pomni that the worst thing you can do is make someone feel like they're not wanted or loved. That's exactly how I feel sometimes. Not that it's anybody's fault, it's my fault. My fault! I did this to myself. The Amazing Digital Circus didn't do this to me. I did! Feeling this way about TADC was ruining my life. It was making me miserable. It was destroying any chance I had to be able to just enjoy TADC or anything made by Glitch Productions. And it's happened countless times before with other forms of media like the ones I just listed. Not that they still bother me now, more or less. The reason it got so bad with TADC in particular is because I got angry and jealous at the wrong person. But that was only because of our history. We were in the same niche, people compared me to him, and, you know, eventually he just went on to do what he liked, and I took a different path. It's okay, I'm still making a living in real life, it's fine. And that's why I should never have lashed out in the first place. The fact that we were in the same place once is why it bothered me so much. But I've more than paid for it, and it's not going to bother me anymore. Making videos on YouTube is a hobby of mine, and I'm just making a living outside of YouTube the best way that I can, the best way that I know how. My previous struggle with SMG4 and TADC has made me miserable, and I'm not going to let it make me miserable anymore. There's no reason to, since everybody else moved on before I did. I wish I had moved on, then I wouldn't have lashed out, and I wouldn't have had everyone so mad at me. I'm happy that I was able to ultimately help Luke to help bring TADC to the internet. You're welcome, everyone. So more about my mental problems. Sometimes I just push people away because I wouldn't expect them to understand what I'm going through. Sometimes I end up going through my own problems alone because I'm too afraid to speak up and admit them, and sometimes by the time I do finally speak up, it's too late. The damage is done and I make my situation worse. I have a bad habit of being masochistic when I'm dealing with my issues, and sometimes I just want to hurt myself. I just end up wanting to hurt myself, not just physically but also mentally. I actually welcome anything hurtful, but then once I get hurt, once I get backlash, I regret it a lot, and I realize what a terrible decision I've made. I could have made a whole mindless, senseless, rage bait video about hating TADC, but because of my situations at the time, I thankfully didn't. I claim to be a glutton for punishment, but when the punishment does come in, I can't take it. It actually hurts me even more, and it makes me feel even worse. I let stuff like TADC's existence and my past history with Luke bother me for too long. Enough is enough. Most of the stuff whose existence bothered me didn't deserve it. People put a lot of time and effort into it, and it deserves praise. The problem is me and my own selfish attitude, how I'm always thinking about my own endeavors. Like, I don't think about what they've done to get this far. By the time I really do acknowledge it, I can pretty much be okay with it. I can actually accept it. Like, if I were to see the faces behind it all, the human faces, then I would just feel at peace. I owe these people an apology for being so inhuman. Learning about episode 9 of TADC being released theatrically would have destroyed me had I not learned my lesson by then. The idea of what the Amazing Digital Circus is really about finally came to me with episode 9. Like, I noticed the theme throughout the other episodes, but episode 9 is when it all really clicked for me. Episode 9 has the best example of its true theme, and it made Jax the Jerk a redeemable character. So how do I relate to the characters and their struggles? In episode 9, Jax pushes away another character named Ribbit because he had a fear of getting his heart broken in a relationship. I pushed this show out of my life the best way that I could because I was afraid that I was going to get ridiculed for all my own failures by comparison. Because of SMG4. I realize now it sounds petty and unrealistic, but it's true. Ribbit abstracted because she felt alone and depressed. I felt alone and depressed. I thought TADC, the entire fanbase, SMG4, I thought they were the ones doing that to me the way Jax did it to Ribbit, but I was wrong. I'm the one who did it to myself. I'm the one who pushed myself away. I abstracted because of myself. I was angry at myself. I made myself miserable for nothing, and I'm not going to make myself miserable anymore. Like I said, it's ironic that the thing that caused me to crash, burn, then open up about my mental issues this much happened to be something about mental issues and needing to open up with them. But as I've also said, my issues are not just with the Amazing Digital Circus. They go beyond that. They go beyond the circus. I can't help but feel the way that I do, and be the way that I am. But I can be better about it, and I can ask for help when I need it, and I can even channel these feelings into being more productive, and being as successful as I can be with what it is that I am doing, and what I decide to do. I am definitely in need of therapy and professional help in the worst case. But what I also need are friends and good people to lean on for support. I know I can count on those closest to me for support, as well as the support of anyone else willing to reach out for me. Even by just posting a comment below on this video, which I highly encourage you to do, it would make me feel so much better. It would make me feel better, and it would make you feel better. So leave a like, and I've added links to my content and things like my Patreon page in the description below, so if you'd like to give me a chance, check out my channel and my content, and then hit subscribe if you want more and if you love what you see. And if you love what you see, consider joining my channel or becoming a paid Patreon member. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.